after I realized that that was no longer the direction that I was going to go in fully, and all the while there was a lot of other things being produced, I also decided to give up my investigations into the rural, exurban, and suburban spaces, and to really pay attention to the urban side of my upbringing and reality. And the first piece to come out after that, private switch that I turned was this. This is called Helix. This is a full-size model, or full-size model. What is it? It is a fire escape. Let's start there. This is a clear acrylic fire escape that is the same size as the ones that are on buildings. So it's full-scale size, 2 levels of a fire escape, clear acrylic. Neither of them have floors, so you can't quite stand on them, and it just sort of hangs there. This sort of hanging, clear acrylic fireplace. And there is a picture of me and the fabricator for scale. So, I just thought it was time to talk about some other things. And that seemed the most interesting at that time. Again, about thinking about like what kind of spaces are interesting and what kind of spaces that I can see myself, that I have some sort of connection to and an understanding of how I can function in that sort of space, leads to the creation of these things. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen this thing forever. Right after that, I made this piece, so there's going to be a few images of this. Sadly, I do not have the video of this running. This is a piece called Rank. This is closer to an installation. So in 2008, wow, that feels so long ago, all of these dates, it's so scary to stand up here and start spewing out dates when I think, oh gosh, like 2000 and blah, 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 4 or 5, that feels like ancient history. And even to say 2008, it feels like a long time ago. But anyway, I digress. So that summer of 2008, I was invited to produce a show in Los Angeles, and I was really interested at that time in the rising intersection between celebrity and politics, right? So I was really fascinated by like, what is going on here at this time? So what I built is this stage, this mirrored stage, staircase, podium, mirrored curtain, and has microphones on it. So trying to talk about who is really complicit in the building up of whoever is up there on top of this giant staircase with the microphones and the podium. Huh. Yeah, long time ago, huh? Here are just some shots of this giant mirrored podium. This is called Rank. It is acrylic mirrors, right? So all plastic mirrors. I think the microphones are real-ish. They've been chromed. But you couldn't quite walk up the stairs, but it was very tempting. I mean, again, like the curtains, I tend to find myself constantly making work that people want to touch or walk on or participate in, even though that is not really one of my goals. It seems as though it just happens at the end, and that idea of engagement is not necessarily something that I've really concentrated on, but it just seems to happen, Even I wanting to go in there and touch those braids, I have made these pomade-covered walls that people are inclined to stick their hands into, pomade, the thing that people put in their hair, If it's on the wall, it never dries, it's pigmented. People always want to touch these things and then walk throughout the rest of the space and then like leave their mark in other galleries or on other people or things. So this thing, not quite like that, but there were times of people attempting to climb up on this thing like it was participatory. Kind of awesome. Let's see, what is this? This is a cart. It's a pretty much, a simple grocery cart. This is I was really thinking about my grandmother in the creation of this, and Saturday Night Fever, right? So the sort of disco floor and my grandmother. My paternal grandmother, who had a storefront church, right, in the Bronx as well. So, and they often had these stickers on the windows of the storefront church. So trying to think about these memories, again, in place, specific places, now specific people, and we end up with this sort of stained glass disco cart. I think growing up, I often saw lots of people carting these around, your groceries, your laundry. They serve very particular functions, and they're kind of amazing. Now where I live, where I see them the most is as food service carts. They don't look like this, but they serve great bacon-covered hot dogs in a cart. So it's great because also before they made street vending legal, if someone was cooking on this and selling things, it's easy because it has wheels. When you would see the police coming, you could just grab the handle and run. One has to think about these things. Right, here is a piece from 2010. This is called Mayday. So what you see here is a giant, I don't know what it is. It could be an oculus, it could be an eye, it could be some other architectural thing. It could be a lot of things. What it is made out of is over 100 of my t-shirts. So I don't know about any of you guys out there, men or women, but occasionally the armpits of my white t-shirts turn really yellow. And so instead of, I can't really afford to throw them out all the time, and I tend to be an artistic hoarder. So I save a lot of things. I like a lot of the same thing over and over again so that I can play with it and try to tease out something. And with a multitude of similar things, the preciousness factor goes way down. And so I was invited again to have a show in this architecturally significant house, like a Rudolf Schindler house. And, I love beautiful architecture, just like a lot of people. I just don't want to live there, right? And this house made me slightly uncomfortable because as beautiful as it is, all I could think of when I walked into this house is who cleans this place, right? Who would be cleaning this place, and how am I supposed to approach this? How would I be able to live in this? And with the understanding that people who own these houses, you never really own those houses, right? Because it's so significant architecturally that you can't do anything in there. So the house actually owns you. You just are the temporary caretaker. And so that's all super interesting. But I used those t-shirts, and what I did was I figured out how to tie-dye them using the particulate off of my studio floor. So here are some of the t-shirts, right, my former t-shirts that I figured out how to make this using dirt, right? So this particulate, particularly where I am in Los Angeles, all of that dark stuff is the stuff that I guess I'm breathing. I'm sleeping in, I'm walking in, it's covering everything. And so at one point, my studio floor was closer to that color, and then after this piece, after scrubbing all of those T-shirts, it finally looked clean again. And so the Mayday is a reference to labor issues, to lots of other sort of, I don't know if crisis is the right word, or situations around perhaps domestic spaces, right? So it also has 2 stainless steel balls floating around there somewhere. I had a detail to show you, but as I looked it up here, it was way too blurry. But there are other elements added in there. And the shirts are just laid shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, I don't know. I really like this crazy thing, that thing. And then these, I think I should perhaps make a lot more and start wearing around to sort of wear the things that I'm really attracted to. This idea of dirt. Well, I don't know if it's dirt. I just think this stuff, that particulate, whatever that combination of things are. I've started to really push back against super pristine things and super nice things. I think that is just because I have seen way too much of that. And I need a little texture and a little grit and a little something to add some texture and, I don't know. But that could all change tomorrow.